Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of year again, the March Madness of DCS. I do this every year, or I have for the last three. This will be the fourth year that I've done this. And I try to do it a little bit differently every year, and I try to get a little bit more involved with the bracket myself every year. Don't have a lot of participation whenever I throw these brackets up and have people, kind of fill them out. But so I'm not even going to do that this year. I'm just going to go through it for entertainment purposes only. I'm changing the rules slightly this year. What we're going to do is we're doing airplanes only. I'm taking the helicopters out and I'm breaking it out into three different brackets. We have a modern jet, basically I think this would be Gen 3 and up, technically. You could maybe make the case that this is Gen 3 plus and up. No mods, just modules. And in those brackets, it will be BVR. All weapons are allowed. The AI will be set on veteran this time. I normally set them on ace, but I'm going to set them on veteran this year because the ace AI tends to cheat, especially when you get within visual range. They don't suffer from a lot of the same energy limitations that a real player would. Okay, so in this bracket, this is a bracket where if it is a Western jet that I own, I'm going to fly it in each battle, unless two of those that I own meet, and then I'll just pick the one I want to fly. So basically, I will be flying the F-18 against the MiG-29, then the F-16 versus the Su-27, and the F-15 versus the M2000C in BVR combat, and then we'll see where that goes. The second bracket is older jets, and that will be IR missiles and guns. Where they can be carried, those will all be allowed. So the MiG-21, you could argue that it should be in the first bracket, but I put it down in this bracket anyway, and I'm going to limit it to IR missiles, which is going to make some people mad, probably some of our fishbed fans out there. And I understand, there are some valid arguments against what I'm doing here. So feel free to let me know in the comments if you do have a problem with that, and I will probably understand. But anyway, what we'll have is the MiG-19 versus the F-86 Sabre, and then the winner of that will take on the MiG-21, and the F5 versus the MiG-15 in the bottom part of that bracket, and then we'll go from there. And finally, we have the Warbirds, and we have the Mosquito and the Spitfire. They'll actually wait until round 2 because they are the highest 2 ranked, and I didn't really have a great way of putting this particular bracket together. I don't want the 1 and 2 going against each other necessarily at the start, but I couldn't think of a better way to do this, so we're going to roll with it and see. There's probably is a logical way to do this, but Thunderbolt versus the BF-109, and then the Dora versus the Mustang, and we will go from there. So the winner of the IR missiles, the older jets bracket, and the winner of the Warbirds, they will fight in a guns-only battle. And then the winner of that will fight in a guns-only battle against a modern jet for the championship. It's single elimination only. This should be less rounds. It should be a little bit easier to do, and it won't have so many videos like normal, and it won't get as repetitive, I hope. So again, it's veteran AI. Labels will be turned on when I'm fighting. I used to try to do guns only, especially without labels, but just due to the nature of this, I'm going to leave the labels on and fly against veteran AI, and we'll just see how it turns out. It's for entertainment purposes only. You can't actually learn much from these kinds of fights, but hopefully you guys enjoy. This is the introduction, and what you've been viewing in the background from time to time is me practicing in the Hornet. I'm trying to learn the Hornet BVR a bit because I've not really done that since a few of the things have been fleshed out in early access. I did a lot of BVR early on, but a lot has been added to the Hornet since I last studied it, and so I'm just trying to learn that a little bit better. It's quite powerful in BVR, and I'm learning to like it a lot. So that's pretty cool. I've done a decent amount of BVR in the F-16, but I'm not that great at it. And the F-15 is a little bit of a cheat since it's not high fidelity. Oh, also that's something I need to mention. Especially, I think it only applies in the modern jets. But anytime I felt like I didn't really go in depth trying to really get these ranked, perfectly the way they should be. So you could have some problems with the you could have some problems with the way I've ranked these, and again, there would be valid arguments for that because I just really quickly kind of evaluated how well these planes turn, how powerful they are in performance-wise, and how powerful they are within visual range and beyond visual range, and just kind of took an average of those things and put them together. If there were two that were pretty close, the low fidelity fighter got bumped up because they kind of cheat a little bit, so they are more difficult to fight against. They are easier to fly with. I might have actually gotten it backwards a couple of times, because anyway, it's hard to compare these apples to apples. You really can't. I also left the Su-33 out because the flanker and the Su-33 are close to the same. They're not quite the same. Um, I think that covers all of the little disclaimers and nuances in general. So anyway, but that's why the F-15 is ranked. I mean, it's a pretty powerful plane anyway, but it wound up being ranked third, and the F-14 wound up being ranked a little bit lower than it probably should be because it's full fidelity. Also, I own the F-14, but I am not at all familiar with it, so I'm not flying the F-14. I would definitely do that jet an injustice if I were at the controls. So that's it. I'm going to shut up. Tune in to my channel as these videos come out. They should start coming out next week or something like that, and I don't know how many it will be, but it'll probably be, like first round of one bracket and maybe rounds 1 and 2 of the smaller brackets, and then we'll just kind of go from there and see how it goes. So thank you for watching. As always, happy flying.